Alright, this is Derek Michael, and we are on Chapter 5 of the book. Complete. 5 chapters done with the book. That's the hard part, because a good book has about 10 chapters. If you know anything about books, you don't want to put much over 10 chapters, because you'll piss off space. That's a serious game. Ask my friend Rosie about space. It's a real fucking thing. You know, I know people that enjoy the silence. They don't even like music. They just like being in space. It's actually quite amusing to me. But, actually, it's because a lot of my friends, they feel like everybody's been picking on them for a long time. You know, wonder how. I mean, there was an entire show. There was an entire show around how I was a turd that God left behind after his ascension. And I was some kind of being that was priding myself on evolution. And the evolution was that I fucked myself. And all my children came from me fucking myself. So how do you think that made some of my children feel? And this is Cain Michael, by the way, my body. And I'm sure his children felt very weird and awkward, you know. I represent the Fagans, the McConnells, and the Fosters, and the Fagans. The Fagans, the Fosters, the McConnells, and the... Fuck. Fagan, McConnell, Foster, and McConnell. McConnell, yeah. My grandparents were named McConnell. See, it's very likely that where I'm living right here would have been where Miley would have grown up with her brother if she would have had that type of life. But Miley had the life of a goddess because of a touch that had transferred between her and I. And her brother can't do this. Miley's brother is beautiful. He can't lay in bed feeling like shit. He can't. The injections I get, I believe, help him. That's what I hope, is they help him, because they ain't helping me. Like, the injections I get, they're just making my body bigger and bigger and bigger. Like, my body is growing at an exponentially quick rate. But, like, my body is light, so why in the hell would you inject me with darkness is my question. Like, people, I gave blood recently, and just, I hope you have your pause on that. You'll never catch the blood from this arm again. But I hope you enjoyed that blood, because I'm never giving blood ever again. My people tell me, Derek, never give your blood. And I'm not anymore, because it is brought to my attention that scientists and stuff are working on ways to either try to help me or make me feel like shit. It's probably split down the middle, where half of the people are trying to make me feel like shit and half the people are trying to help me. And then you got people that actually care, people that, you know, I'll feel like shit for anybody on a given day. Like, if I could just take the world shit feeling, that's what I've done. Like, half the time when I feel like a extreme shit, you know this, that I just took a hit for you, and you're kind, so you don't feel like shit. That's what happens when I feel like shit. Now, Chapter 5 of the book is awesome. I'm going to read a little bit to you guys. Juddy makes his debut. It was pretty good. I thought it was pretty shitty when I wrote it, but it's pretty awesome. Okay, let's start where the action gets pretty good. Okay. We'll start right from the beginning. I'm going to read you maybe 2 pages. Meanwhile, back on the cramp ladder, God says to Earth, "Do what's pleasing to me." God is tired of the primitive dinos, and he wants them to play a new game. The signal vibrates. Level 5 of a new building in the old United States called the Pentagon. The dinosaurs are holographic camouflage, Jesse spits. Lucky smiles, and he snaps a shot of Miley. The Pentagon has 5 sides, and it is 8 levels deep. This is to honor the 8-5. If you know what that means, you're doing well. Juddy and his men only know about the first 5 levels. So it's pleasing. So it's getting interesting. When the signal was sent, all the old systems were covered up with covers and dust. With dusty covers. They started pushing towards the core because the signal from space was driving them in. They were scared of Jazzy's lunch. They were scared of being Jazzy's lunch. They're a group of lucky drills, and those are the sons and daughters of Cain Michael, who is Derek. Cain was framed by Adam, who is Satan, and he is a bitter J, and the serpent, Lucifer, sweet J, but Lucifer's good won the soul fight. Basically, Lucky merged with the god Lucifer, and it could have went either way. Cain is encasing God's favorite Lucky, and he is a weapon of mass destruction or construction. Do you have a soul fight? Your soul is everlasting, and that means you are not of this world. Ye little ones, hear my cry, and I am with thee as he is with thee. But I am not worthy to even buckle even the latch. I speak of the old one, the Father, and his name is Jesus Christ. Do you know him? Were you called from the next world to fight against the wicked one, Satan? Everyone thinks I'm the wicked one, but there is another that is sure that I will surely give birth. God didn't create Satan. They are brothers. He is a character. Who built this place? Why is space compressing Earth? The answer is it's me, and I walk among us. Derek's and Michael's are sent here from the future, and they are guided by Lucifer and Satan. I chose Lucifer because he is brilliant, magnetic, smart, funny, honest, but my lean is being forced by the station hogs. Some need to step off. Lucifer was meant to be blessed when he walked this earth as the serpent. He was in love with Eve, and Eve was going to leave Adam for him. I don't know what happened, but they found him and they crucified him. They also painted the wicked name of Satan on him, and the man on the cross went dark. He is with me now, and you will hear of our tales. When it goes dark, it definitely gets interesting, because space is dark, so that's when the head, imagine if you look up into the dark space and you see dark space, that's what my head is made out of. There are tales of Bumblebee and Shifter. We need adventures. Do you have an interesting story? This was the second coming of This was the first coming of Jesus Christ. No, this was the second. This was the second coming of Jesus Christ, but I was the first. It was a long time ago, and Miley and I fell in love with Lucifer's story of lust. He is my best friend, and he is Miley's brother. I will always protect him, and that means if you stay tuned, people are dicks. That's all it is. That means if you stay tuned, I'll be back. Lucifer came as Jacob, and his destiny was solidified as the machine. Was the old man that blessed Esau blind, or did he pardon the fool? Esau Michael is the Derek Michael that the world knows, but he is one of many. Do you know Mick? The story will come later. Deep within the surface of the Pentagon, level 7, the Judah men receive a transmission. So Jetty says, what the fuck did that traitor Derek do now? He threw a rock at me, and I know it, Jetty says. Fuck him. He's a Satan drone now, and look at him, Jetty says. He's fucked. Sir, Crescent says, it could... Sir Crescent says, it couldn't have been him with the rock. I looked into this, and I think I know who did it, Crescent spits. I think Derek made a mathematical decision, and Lucky flips Jetty a quarter with Derek Michael on it. Holy shit, Jetty spits, and he says, New Jerusalem? Dumb, Jetty spits. The shiny is always silver, Lucky says, but the best coin has copper in it. Money makes energy, and energy turns into matter. Change is a resistive force of money, and it was invented by a man that had no choice. How did you get in here? Jetty asks Lucky, but he is gone. The Lucky bots, Jetty says, and he has a Ricky smile. He wonders how he caught the quarter so easily. I come with the transmission, Lucky says, and he is on the other side of the room. I guess an endless supply of shit and pussy wasn't enough for Dad, Jetty says. His dares are swinging dude now. Jetty is concerned that his father Satan is gay, like Miley says, but he doesn't want to believe it. He went into the pit for the devil, Jetty says, and now look at him, he's fucked. Derek sucks now. He is coming back from space, Lucky, Jetty hisses. Jetty says, shit, and he laughs. Jetty doesn't believe in Jazzy, but he has always known Derek, who is Lucifer. Jetty belches. His name is Derek, and I'm sure of it, Jetty reports. Thank you, Justin Billings of Hallsport Road, Crescent says. That's where We're sending him, Crescent bergs, and he adjusts his Hindenburg descent. Ah, Juddy says, you better get that German piece of shit away from my farm. Relax, Crescent says. I saw this in a movie once, and a drone crashes in Juddy's field. It hits as a basic Roxy rocket, which can be bought in any convenience store in Pennsylvania with the use of an out-of-state ID. Pennsylvania was once called Transylvania in the time of Demeses, but don't mention him around the sun god Ra, because he'll say, I'm God. You God? Who's God? Lucky disappears and he reports to the moon. Juddy, Michael, and Jordan, Derek, were both sons of the living father's body, Satan. They represent white and black. Do you know which one is white? Satan has two sons, Derek and Michael. The father was Satan in body from in the beginning. On Juddy's world, the serpent calls himself Derek, so everyone blames Derek for the forbidden fruit. But it was knowledge of an ancient story. The serpent is a hero to Jazzy because he once walked the earth in the same fashion, but he is known as the devil on earth. Juddy and Jordan are partners, and they switch to avoid death. There are rumors that Jordan is DEA and Juddy is FBI, but I can't comment. I don't switch, but my body goes all ways when I sleep. My body is known as Dare in this story, and he followed his brother to a family that needed help. There are rumors that the Dare drones were grown by the Nazis to carry built-in thermonuclear warheads into the United States. Grown by the Nazis to carry built-in thermonuclear warheads into the... There are rumors that the Dare drones were grown by the Nazis to carry thermonuclear warheads into the United States within their heads. But this one was shot down and reprogrammed. Jordan is a descendant of the serpent, and Juddy is a descendant of the father. They were in charge of evolutionary science, but the moon drones beat the sun drones to the core. That means machines are the root of evolution. The sun represents flesh, and the moon is machine. Machines basically won the game. I guess if you crash enough Transformers cars into each other, something crawls out of the pile. Juddy wondered how he knew all this as he looks at his lucky quarter, and he looked at his pipe, and he thinks, the fucking drugs are playing too? Who's paying them? Not it, Juddy says, and Crescent gives him a look. Juddy tries to wrap his head around the facts. Juddy likes drugs, and he makes a discovery. The drugs are sentient, which means they think. Juddy sends a return message to Jazzy, and they are for once on their toes. Jazzy doesn't like it, but he receives. It is a black and white video of Derek Michael, and he says, Hello, I'm glad you've come. If you are sitting in front of your computer, engage your 6.25-inch floppy hard drive and insert disk 1 of 26, he says. The voice is 80s tech, and Jazzy smiles. The black and white digital image will load, so be patient, DM says. These were the old black and white videos from the Egyptian reign of Moses, Demeses, and Tut. They were sons of Set. It is possible that Jazzy is Set, but we can't be sure. The Father, Son, and Ghost and Holy Spirit are all one. They were unaware that Jazzy is called Satan on the moon, and he is supposed to be dead. Judah was showing off their old tech. No one understood it, but it was slow and funny. The entire tribe within the star laughed as Jazzy watched the videos. Michael, Juddy, laughed too, and he was faking the why so serious look. Alright, that was a warm-up, and Juddy sips out of his Marine Corps sunblocking cup. What did you send him, boys? Juddy asks, and he makes an noise. Where did Lucky go? Juddy says, fuck, I don't care. I sent him the original Sun on karaoke singing the Thon song by Cisco. He is one of Michael's finest, and it's pink. God, the moon should be pleased, Cap says. Jazzy is coming, and he is obviously dead, so we were going to fuck with him, right? Juddy says. He's a moron, isn't he? Juddy spits. He is... Kind of, but his kids are really smart, Krabby says. That's worse, Juddy says. It's Satan, and there are some legends that the machine Satan herds people like cattle for food. Everyone gets disgusted, and Crescent says, To eat? We don't do that, he barks, and he forgets who he's working for. God is a complete moron, gentlemen, and that is who Jazzy is, Crescent Spards. He wants to sleep with the women of our planet, Juddy asks. So we get him some special lady friends. His offspring will be tasty, Hermit says. Everyone turns their head and they look upon a little man still working on his computer. Yuck, I think, Juddy says, and he looks at the little man. What are you working on, Juddy yells. He looks like a son of a son, and he says nothing. He is bone-faced white. Juddy goes over to his drug intake, and he wonders where shit is actually coming from. This guy is going to take our jobs, Cribwalk says. Wrong show, but funny, Juddy says. Hermit, you are under judicial review, and you are doing a good job. He finally answers, and he says, Juddy, what are meth... And he asks Juddy what methamphetamines are. Juddy gets very nervous, and he says, and there's that. Hailing Chief Justin Billings, the intercom says, and Juddy fucking jumps. How the fuck, Juddy yells? That name is... Juddy couldn't figure out how Jesse knew Juddy was the leader of Judah. He also couldn't figure out how he had his family crest. Judah is rich as fuck, but they are hiding themselves so they don't use the old names. Most people think that Reuben has the loot, but most believe the loot was the father's stash of drugs or the father's cash buried at the core. There are 12 original tribes of Israel, and the legendary city of New Jerusalem is the 13th colony. It is a flying city. It was once called Atlantis, and it parted from Pangaea with super technology. It landed again in Egypt after Noah's kind chased it. I haven't heard that name since the Bologna heist, Juddy says. Fuck you, Jazzy. God, Juddy thinks. You want K-Bots? I told you to never come back here, Juddy yells. You know what we want if you're here to stay, Juddy says. Say it, you pea-bodied brain hanger, Jazzy says. What the fuck ails you? Cake and ladies, motherfuckers, Juddy says. Chandeliers? Lucky says to the captain, he wants chandeliers? Lucky checks the inventory, and their ship is filled with all kinds of exotic shit. Lucky spits, we have those. The captain says, Lucky, charge our reserves for a financial transaction. Same move, Juddy thinks. Lucky, you aren't lucky, and you aren't smart, Juddy thinks, after he overhears the conversation between Hermit and Crescent. You are nice, and that is why we have a mission for you. We like you, we hate the Dare Moon drones and the Moon Men, so this is either going to end really bad or really good for you. For a long time, the sun has been sending men at the core, and the moon has been sending angels, machines at the core. Someone found him, Crescent Sparts, the Lost Prime. Hermit gets back on his computer, and he gets even whiter. Juddy's star is called A2679 Earth, and he is paired with A2989 Moon, and they bear who is Jordan. And they barely got anything after the last war. The mind has wisdom will note that they saw her in 1995, 1996, 97, or 98. Legend has it that someone saw her in 94, and he is without bond. I am talking about soulmates. Everyone has a mate on Earth except a dare drone named Derek Fagan. That means one thing to these men. He is the father, and he must have fucked himself. Juddy instantly wondered where the women came from when God presented the turd theory, so he started to relax. Wait, Juddy thinks, and he wonders who God is. Someone knows something around here, he thinks. There's something else here. Some describe it as a presence. K was the best defense against the invaders, aliens and moon men, but they were getting younger and smarter. The moon men were descended from the machine father Derek, who is deaf, and they are bullshit. Jazzy loves their bullshit, and he is their leader. Bullshit breaks up space, and Earth is an object swallowing in a black hole. It needs to be serviced now and again. This is just another again. The dark of space is the walls. Some say Earth is the alpha rock, and the alpha females lie below the surface waiting on their space-traveling men. They were getting invading forces from 8 to 14 directions, and Lucky smiled and realized this was the way home. He didn't tell the captain what he figured out. There were many angels at each pole, and the K-Bot bitches were to the north fucking God Cedars. A28 only knew a violent civil war between the north Derek and the south Michael. God comes from the east, and he is called Lucifer, the moon. He gives too much, but it is his to give. Lucifer is the root of men, and men are the source of drugs. What happens if a drug takes a drug? Lucifer is a man. Satan comes from the west, and he is a superstar angel. Lucifer comes from the east, and he is a god. Michael South is a man, and Derek North is an angel. Michael is a Southie for life, and Derek is a rich northern asshole. Nobody ascended on the cross because Satan went first and he flipped out, but Lucifer went last and he cried. Miley knew that was hers. Lucifer is Miley's baby. She thought the man she married was Lucifer, but it was Michael in disguise. This is Jazzy's shame, but you can't blame a man for trying. He was sick because he was born of the light, and the dark took over. Miley restored his light with a legendary blowjob, but then he cried. Old Mileys don't like Satan or Michael. They like Lucifer and Derek. The father is mean because space is mean, and he didn't want his peeps to discover the hidden world. Jazzy likes surprises for his people. My body is the least of his kind. During the time of Jesus Christ, John was called the devil, but Jesus Christ was actually Lucifer. Satan was blamed for killing Lucifer in the first coming. In the second coming. That was the one we discussed earlier. I am the fourth coming, and I died in a car accident. We will get to it. Did Lucifer frame his long-term Nemesito brother? He framed him, and he left him holding the bag. How many times has Derek been crucified, is the question. The answer is once, and it sucked. It was the first time I experienced sleep, and I watched Jazzy grab Miley off of a party float. 4 archangels came together on the cross, but there were also four men. But it is a man's game. And I would actually say there's probably 5 men. Knowing men love traps. That is how I was born. The cross is a sine wave. Many were backing up into empty space and fueling up on the black or white mixture gas, and they'd charge in a wavelength and go over or under the meanie Satan. Many didn't want to see Lucifer naked, but only peeps of the light saw a naked man on the cross. Peeps of the light are gangsters, and light has always fed off the darkness. Naked men scare gangsters. I like the song All She Wrote because it made me... People think I'm a girl sometimes. Jetty will never hold his pipe the same after that day. I'm a man, he thought? So somebody built this place to keep drugs away? Drugs made by drugs would be awesome, Jetty sparks. Drugs made me the man I am, Jetty thinks. I'm going to kill him, Jetty thought, and he remembered the cross. He started thinking about the rock that hit him, which we'll get to that, and he wailed at a fly that was flying around. The fly lands on a pile of old Sanduka, which is shake and bake meth, and he instantly dies from the hit. Jetty is trying to relax on his farm after a fucked up day. Fuck you. You deserve it, Jetty says to the fly. Those are my drugs. He sparts. He steps back into the kaleidoscope room. Sorry, there's little errors and stuff you gotta fix here and there. Machines like the errors. And he wonders why it is called the kaleidoscope room. Sir, the moon is getting closer to the earth, Fry says. Fuck you, Fry Monster, Jetty says, and he exclaims, I don't like the sir shit. My cartoons even haunt me, he spits. The sir is a moron, Jetty rips, and he hits his pipe. Is it gonna get me a blowjob, Fry? Jetty says. It actually is, sir. And Jetty shakes his head in disbelief. Yuck! I know who runs the moon, Jetty says, and I won't fuck him. What else you got? Jetty says. Well, my calculations, Fry says. The moon is not going to collide with Earth anytime soon, but there is a solid layer building in the sky, Fry exclaims. Impossible, Jetty starks, and he looks at the photos. The moon is building a large black and white box around our planet, sir, Fry says. Fuck, tell me a joke, Jetty says. Sir, in layman's terms, I am senior, yet in your sperms, I am beanier, Fry says. Yuck, Jetty says. Where did you say you were from? Jetty pipes. I'm from the future, sir, but your home is like no other, and your K-bots are delicious, Fry says. Yuck, motherfucker. Those are my sisters, Jetty shouts. Sorry, I have been looking at a few places, and I'm gonna stay. Good, Judy says, and the men knock off for the day. It's goofy, but laughter breaks up space, folks. If you're sitting there with a bunch of rage aimed at me and my people, you're solely misplaced. You know, you have no one to hate. I'm the worst. Like, I'm so humble that I have the worst position of anybody in the entire of anybody. You know, I look around and I usually figure if anybody's got it the worst, it's going to be me. But the truth is, there's a lot of problems in the world, and we share the load of the worst. You know, so sometimes I might have it better than other people, but I don't have it great all the time. I got enough. I can count my friends like this. You know, I'm the black sheep of my family for using drugs and doing other things. My life isn't a chandelier picnic. And if you're offended by the drug use in my story, don't read it. That's what I offend to you. Like, everybody uses drugs. I don't know if you realize this, but most people that wake up and they feel good from taking their happy pills, there's methamphetamine in your fucking pills. And that is exactly what I cooked. It wasn't some nasty bathtub shit. I cooked really primo shit. You can ask anybody who did my meth. It was good shit. But the meth I was cooking was of interest to the government because the meth I was cooking can convert a person's soul from light to darkness. Now that's a very interesting batch that I was making. It needs to be controlled, policed, and governed because it's very dangerous shit. You know, so don't think that you're just gonna go out and make a bunch of meth. That'd be stupid. You know, like if you want to make meth, line yourself up as a Derek in this story because this story will repeat, and we need a lucky bot. Now, if you are a man, you have a choice. You could merge with a lucky. It's not going to happen. I don't know how you could do that. I don't know how you can make me from what I am. I don't know how you can make me. I don't know why anybody would ever want to try to do it again because it could cause a supernova if we ever tried it again. So it probably never will be done again. So everybody's like, just relax. We'll just do it again. Well, you're going to be actors, you know, and you're going to be people that are pretending to do things. Well, I'm really fucking doing things, you know. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. But this is 27 minutes long, so we're going to sign off. Derek Michael out.